Welcome to this podcast produced for Business Lincolnshire as part of the Fit for Business programme. I am Guy Lewis and we're joined today by Caroline Wilson from Hot Toddy for the third in the series of podcasts about social media. Hi Caroline, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. So what's been the top of the tree this week in terms of social media stuff?
Oh, posting. What to post, when to post, what's the right content, all topics of posting online. Is there a secret formula and can we learn it?
Okay, so let's start with what to post. How do you work out what to put on your social media channels?
Well, I learnt very early on that there's two reasons why people use the internet: to be educated or entertained. So if you can think, how am I adding value, or bearing those two things in mind, then I think that's a really, really great place to start. Because we maybe fall into the trap of panic posting, if you like, and been like, oh, I'm just going to quickly put something out. And then it's really salesy and really dull because you say the time, the price, the place, how they can do whatever. And you give so much information that they don't need to actually engage, do they? So people just scroll past it.
Yeah. I think there was a slogan when I was working in television that was, content is king. That actually it's got to be engaging content. It's got to be something that people want to see and not just put something up there for the sake of putting it up there. Okay, so they've got to be educated or entertained or both, ideally.
Well, you don't maybe want to be greedy. That might be a bit tricky, but I'd say, some businesses, like an accountant, it's quite tricky if that's not really your character, I would say, to be funny. But there are other ways, masses of stuff that you can educate other business owners on regarding accounts, and likewise social media. I even follow loads of people that are specialists in particular platforms that educate, daily on bits of changes, tips, tricks, just basically adding value. So I would suggest to anybody on any platform, curate your newsfeed. And if you want to be educated on, even if your industry, even on, if you're on Twitter, let's say, following Twitter experts and seeing how they use the platform, or getting tips and tricks and updates, so that when you are on your whatever platform, that your newsfeed is full of really interesting, educating sort of content, really.
Okay, and don't forget what stuff you've done before. So replicating in previous posts and that sort of stuff.
Oh, 100%. Because people say to me, oh, but I've already posted about that. So they've maybe got an event happening. They posted it once and they say, but I've already posted that. And I just simply say, Coca-Cola wagon, Christmas. Is it coming to town? And they just go, oh God, yes, it comes every year, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? There are massive campaigns that happen every single year that will be replicated, but that's building up that trust, that consistency, and keeping the message drilling home of what your brand and your customers, what you do basically. So I think it's really important that actually replicating content, there's so many different ways you can say something or do something or reuse something that doesn't have to be new or innovative and just a replication, because I think it's something as low on Facebook that 7% of your audience can see your content. So the chances are that once. Not everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
And you need to see something, I don't know, is it 8 or 9 touches to a sale in marketing terms? Just seeing it once, is that enough? And we'll see loads of adverts repeated, won't we?
So you mentioned Coca-Cola and them reusing that Christmas ad time and time again. So I guess they've looked at the analytics, that it's done well. So if you're going to replicate something, you've got to make sure it's done well in the first case. But I guess there's it's updating and adding stuff to it.
Yeah, and making it timely. So if it's super, super relevant and on trend and timely, you don't want to, like the Coca-Cola, it'll been going decades, won't it? But it'll have been slightly tweaked, updated, maybe run for a couple of years. But it's thinking, it works. People know it. It sort of signals Christmas for some people, doesn't it?
It's always at Christmas. It's never any other time, is it?
So it signals, but if it starts in sort of September or October, when you see it, Christmas is coming. So I think it's that sort of fuzzy feeling that you're giving your customers, aren't you? Because people think it always needs to be new and innovative, but actually following a trend and being consistent actually really does help, doesn't it?
Yeah, and slightly updated. So let's start to look at, we looked at what we're going to post. Do we always have to be, again, you talked about, what was the one that always had to be on message? You were saying that, was it architects or was it accountants? But, they're always going to educate. It could be quite dry. But that idea of being on message so that something's consistent. Is that always the case?
Yeah, but you'd go back to your business objectives and think, what are my business objectives? What's my mission? What's my why? And sort of really try and tie that in. Like if you were, like an accountant, you maybe wouldn't super be edgy or, really controversial with your content. And if you're like a coffee shop, you might be a bit amusing. We've seen billboards outside with coffee quotes. It might just depend how you are as a business, you all have a bit of a personality, don't we? As businesses. And I think I've heard people refer to thinking of how's your business compared to a hotel. So you can compare it, is it a boutique hotel? Every room's different, completely unique, a one-off. Or is it, like the other end of the spectrum, a Premier Inn, mostly on a motorway for functionality? You're going to get that, is it purple bedding, and a particular room set out, it's going to be clean, it's going to be fresh. Like, what are those sort of fundamentals that you really pride yourself maybe in your business that help create that mission? So it might be thinking of that and how you're going to, what do you compare yourself to? That's quite a good, quite a good way to think of it, I think.
So you've got to be on message, consistent. But what about disruptive posting?
Oh, I love these. So yes, it might be that you have a bit of a plan, but actually if you go away from it, we even see a whole new platform called Be Real. That is literally you responding to what you are doing in those however many minutes. I think you get like 10, 15 minutes to get back to somebody. So it's having something that's a disruptor post, something that's different, potentially alive, or maybe something a little bit personal, or, whatever it is, that it is completely a bit of a disruptor. Because what happens in the newsfeed is usually it's quite organic, quite authentic, really in the moment. For instance, a gent was walking up to opening his shop on TikTok, did a 15-minute, not even 15 minutes, like 15 seconds of him opening his shop. Absolutely went massive because it's completely different and really in the moment, easy to create. And the content's almost, thank you for that. Like, actually, you don't need to over curate, Canva things to death, plan things, edit things externally. Just doing it in the platform in that moment is absolutely enough. And they really like that. So that's a good little disruptor. And obviously we can't do that every day, depending on your job role.
Yeah, because actually you've got that balance then between what your main message, your core value that you're trying to replicate or show, and then the odd disruptive post.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be very disruptive to your business, wouldn't it? If you're just always looking for, trying to do a disrupt, and then it wouldn't be a disruptor anymore. That would become your new norm, wouldn't it? So
So consistency.
Consistency is massive. Yeah.
Okay, now it makes some sense, and I guess also timing is important. Scheduling. Putting things out there when they should be put out there, whether it's in business time or whether it's out of business, is that something you should look into?
Well, you will already have stats and statistics on every platform that you're posting out on to see what performs well at particular times. I mean, Facebook for a short time even did suggested times for your business. So it would say in the Meta Suite, here's a good suggested time for when your audience is on. So your maximum audience is on to be able to reach them. So you might get more engagement exposure. However, do bear in mind, if that platform is super busy and there's lots of your audience on, that newsfeed, obviously if you're posting, everybody else will be posting. If there's lots of people on, they could potentially be posting. So that newsfeed will move really quickly. So it might not actually be a great time to actually get any engagement because the newsfeed's quite full. It's updating more often.
There's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah, more noise, exactly. So maybe you're thinking, oh, right. So I know that a lot of people, maybe 8 p.m. is quite typically a really popular time, that 6 to 8 p.m. time. That if you are in retail, you're out of hours maybe potentially. Or if you're in a restaurant, a hospitality, that's potentially when you could be serving people. So thinking, is it a good time for me to post to be able to get back to people? Or do I want to maybe give a night a week to posting a little bit later, but sticking around for the conversation? Because if you're just posting on social media, I think it's like walking into a room and saying, hello, I'm Caroline Wilson from Pot Toddy. All the room look round and go, oh, and then you walk out again. So you've really got to bear in mind, these are all community-focused platforms built around communities of different interests or different ways you like sharing and speaking to people. So posting alone is not enough to get that crucial engagement. If you want more engagement and you're posting, you need to actually be engaging. And a prime example of this is Twitter. First started that when I started my business over 10 years ago now. And worked, got connected to a local copywriter, and like 9 years on, I got to actually work with her.
Yeah.
And I would call that lady friend now, which is somebody I would just tweet. Do you know what I mean? And she was local to me, she was friendly, she was welcoming, so I was new in business, and she was just very consistent and added value to my business for free over all these years. And then when I wanted a copywriter, she was first and foremost. I was like, yes, I would love to work with you. It was an absolute no-brainer. It was like yes, you've added so much value, and you think sometimes it is the long game.
Yeah, and I think you've said that on some of our previous podcasts. It's not overnight results.
No.
Okay, thanks for that. My name is Guy Lewis, and you are with myself and Caroline Wilson discussing social media posting. So before the break, we talked about how scheduling was important, that you put your posts out when your customers or your clients are there. But actually, is there something about your own personal timing?
Oh, definitely. I think a stat I read was something like 70% of social media users expect to reply back within an hour. So really manage their expectations and have a little think, right, if I am popping a post out there, am I actually sticking around for the conversation?
Yeah, you've got to be present, haven't you?
Yeah, and if it's not a good time for you to get back to people, like it's a Saturday and you have a shop and you're open, it's not going to be great. And also, if people are there, I also think there's a little bit of, they're posting on a Saturday. They're in a shop. It must be their busiest day. They must be quiet. Like, does it have a negative impact actually when you think you're reaching more people and it's positive? Is it actually having the reverse? Is it a turn off for your customers? And also, every social media site loves you to be active in and around when you're posting. So that really, really helps as well because you're community focused. And we'll talk a lot about this in our engaging on how to engage. But definitely think if you can stick around for the conversation and make it two-way, then that's just is a lot better. So really thinking, we spoke about maybe giving a night that you might have a late night. So historically we see beauty industry always having a late night on a Thursday, don't they?
Yeah.
Is that potentially what you might need to do in your business, even if it isn't beauty? Thinking, right, I'm going to do a late night, maybe Q&A or a live, or it's a quieter time so we can do a little preview event. What can you do to maximize this, your time? But
don't just post and run. Basically.
Stick around for the conversation.
Okay. So thinking now about posting, thinking about what are there tools to help us? Are there tools around that can help you schedule and posting your content?
Definitely, but there are stats that show external sites do actually affect the reach on posts that are scheduled from, like third-party sites. You might have heard of Hootsuite or TweetDeck or any of these. And now what's happened is most sites on a desktop, you can post. So Twitter have a posting site on desktop. Facebook and Instagram, we've got business Meta Suite Manager. So there's like a whole brilliant management that's sort of really smart back end to that really helps you pull those two platforms together.
Yeah, so that's Instagram and Facebook.
Yep, and then LinkedIn, you can post direct as well from your desktop.
Okay.
Brilliant. So they're wanting you to stick around. They have obviously responded to us over the many years using all these external sites, which means we're not actively on the site. So they're making it really, really easy for us to be there and be using that site.
Okay, so when you're in that tool, you're actually online. You can post, you can reply, it's all within that same deck.
Yeah, and you're on the platform. The most important thing, you're in a community, you're on there, you're seeing the newsfeed. It's really easy. Really, really pleased about this because obviously spending more time, you're doing more things, you're more community focused, and you might see things and pop up. You never know. So, yeah, I think they've made it much easier for us all.
Okay, are any of them sort of portable onto your smartphone or? Are they more desktop type things?
Well, you can get, I think, Business Suite app, but I always recommend who wants to be zooming in and out. Okay. I always think it's a little bit easier. Just be kind to yourself and think, if I'm going to do it, just get my desktop up, have a little look. You might be absolutely brilliant depending on how big your screen is on your device, but I much prefer having it a bit bigger.
Okay, and as ever, so summary, what's the top tips you've got for posting?
Well, don't shout. It's a two-way conversation. Think about when you're posting, do you have time to stick around and engage? Do you even have an engagement strategy? But that's something we'll come on to. And thinking about your post sort of percentages, if you like. You want 80% of it to be brand building, testimonials, adding value to your customers, sharing sort of experiences, case studies, really juicy, meaty, stamping your authority as a professional, or sort of like whatever you want your mission to be, but all those juicy little bits, and then maybe like 20% sales that are a bit more sales focused, because it is social media.
Yeah. So it's again that thing, get them to know you, get them to trust you, and then like you, brackets, buy off you.
Yes, exactly. And finally, just trust that data. So when you're saying about posting and you're thinking, what do I post? We already have it within us. The stats and the data and the information is there for your business. Look at it, trust it, evaluate it, tweak it, question it, build on it. You know, it's all there, because ultimately you want to measure your return on investment, don't you? For your time, for your energy, for your effort. And if you are measuring a stat and you've got an objective and you can measure against it, then that's all really, really positive. And if it's not working as well, why isn't it working? Like, look into it, research it. Are you being consistent? Have you dropped off the bandwagon? You know, really, really
all
question
things
it.
Timing, scheduling, all that. Yeah, is it the right time of day? Is it the right day? Is it the right,
Or
excellent.
even, is it Christmas and everybody's throwing a massive budget out there? Do you know what I mean? Is it evaluate the time, like May, we've just had 3 bank holidays, August, pretty much a summer holiday, isn't it? Does that affect it? Because people are on holiday out of the office. Think back, it's not just you, it's actually, it's affected by your environment as well. So massively, take it with a bit of pinch of salt, think of that wiggly line of success and actually put it into context.
Great. Well, thanks for joining me again today. Thank you. You've been listening to a Business Lincolnshire podcast. Look out for the next episode. If you're listening on the Business Lincolnshire YouTube channel, don't forget to give us a thumbs up or subscribe down below. If you're on your favourite podcast platform, then remember to follow the show. More information at businesslincolnshire.com.